today we have lots of things to discuss. Our topic is quite broad, and today we're going to talk about reading and writing skills in the Prepare Ukrainian Edition, that is under piloting now. And my name is Iryna Katsion. I'm Cambridge University Press ELT consultant. So let's start. What are we going to discuss today? First of all, we will talk about reading, different types of reading, ways of implementing this kind of skill, and different approaches of reading. Next one, we will discuss some points about writing, fluent writing, what is it, how to implement it, and so on. And at the end, I placed here actually the question, how are reading and writing connected at the New Ukrainian School through the Prepare Ukrainian Edition book, but actually you will see how it's connected, how these two kinds of skills are connected at the end of the webinar. Okay, let's go on. First of all, as a traditional thing of every webinar, I must say that, of course, after this webinar, you will receive the certificate within a week attached to your thank you letter, and be sure to check all the mail folders, for example junk one, in order to not to lose this email. So for those who visited the previous webinar, I must admit that you will see several first slides like it used to be at the previous one, but it's not my mistake, or I haven't mixed up anything. It's just the beginning of the types of skills we're going to discuss today, the beginning of this topic. So there are 4 kinds of skills that we are practicing during each class, of course, and in general during English language teaching and learning process: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. And my question to the audience is going to be the following one. Last time I asked you, for those who visited my webinar, last time I asked you about what kind of skills are the most difficult one for your kids. And this time I'm going to ask you which kind of skills are less difficult for your students from those 4 ones. Reading, reading is less difficult. Writing, reading. Yeah, sometimes I can see in our chat box that it's listening sometimes. Yeah, for those who can hear well and who can understand language well, yeah, it may be, but mostly I'm sure you can see the statistics too. Mostly it's reading and sometimes writing. Why so? Because we have time to think about it, to prepare for this kind of task, that's why reading and writing are the most are less difficult, in this process. Excuse me, one moment. Yeah, and also one more time I'm going to show you this picture that I've already showed you. As far as you can see here, reading is the brightest and the most natural kind, part of this horse, Then we have listening, and writing is like so-so. So first of all, we will start off reading the less difficult type of skills that we are practicing during our class. But reading also has some problems. While we are practicing it, first of all, our kids, they very often, especially modern kids, they don't like reading, they don't want to read. And for them, sometimes it's boring. Let's look how to prevent it with the books we have now during English classes and at English classes according to the new Ukrainian school reform. Yeah. So there are two types of reading we have in general, two types of reading: fluent reading and extensive reading. Today we are going to discuss fluent reading. Why? You will see further. Fluent reading, or another name is intensive. Students work with short texts with close guidance from the teacher. The aim of intensive reading or fluent reading is to help students obtain detailed meaning from the text, to develop reading skills, such as identifying main ideas and recognizing text connectors, and to enhance vocabulary and grammar knowledge. Actually, that is the point that we are practicing during our classes, yeah, with our students. If we talk about extensive reading, it's for like adults, for our teenagers who are older a little bit. Now in the process of studying, especially in the 5th grades, because today we are talking about the new Ukrainian school in the 5th grade, yeah, we are concentrating, of course, mostly on intensive reading. So today we will discuss this point. So let's have a look at the example from one text. Here we can see the task. Yeah, first of all, read the magazine article and match the people to the room 1, 2, or 3. We have here 3 pictures of 3 rooms. They are quite different. The first one is organized, looks quite well. The second one has mess. Here I see, we all can see it, but so-so. And the last one, number 3, is total messy. Yeah? So we can look at 3 texts. First of all, our kids are looking at pictures, of course. They are bright, visual, and so on. And they are looking at these pictures and try to connect their own life with these pictures. This is the problem of almost every teenager. They have some, very often they have some problems with organizing their things in their rooms, yeah, with sometimes their parents are like annoying about it, yeah, and tell them, could you please clean it or do something with this mess. Some of kids, they have everything in order. So it's actually the factor of personalization. They can connect themselves and their own life with the situation they can see in the text. Yeah. So let's look closer at this text and discuss. Here I can see now Natalia Viktorovna has already answered. Here, very good. Agree. The task is correct. And let's look closer at this text. This is the same text, but a little bit like shorter. And the characteristics of influence of intensive reading. Yeah. First of all, it's language level. in order to have fluent reading tasks the most effective, these tasks should coincide with some list of characteristics, and here they are actually. First of all, it's language level. The text should be easy enough to be comprehensible for learners. Second one is content. Content means this topic is like accessible to learners. They should understand quite clear what are they reading about, and this content should be interesting for them. The next point is speed. Learners should read fairly fast, and in order to reach this goal, this text must be meaningful. Selective attention. The task for this text requires from learner to look through it briefly and find some things that can be connected with, for example, like in this task, with the picture, in order to find something in common. Unknown vocabulary. Of course, it can be not just because some new words are added into the text, but because of some students can forget some words from the previous units. It's possible, or from the previous years of English learning. So it's possible, but this unknown vocabulary shouldn't be like very. There shouldn't be a lot of different words unknown for them to read briefly and fast. Next one is prediction. Learners think ahead. They think hypothetically, and predict what can be next. How can they develop this like text further, and so on. Next one is motivation. Of course, learners are motivated to read by interesting content, by the topics that are connected, quite tightly connected with their everyday life they can see and hear. Next one is purpose. They should clearly understand what they are reading for. The task should be clear, and they need to understand which kind of strategy to choose. About strategies, we will talk a little bit later. And the next point and the last one from the list of characteristics is different strategies. Actually, I must admit that there are lots of different strategies for completing the reading like successfully, the reading task successfully. But I'd like to show you two of them. Here are actually the names of the strategies: KWL or CQ and 3R. Actually, these are not some chemistry, science, I don't know, formulas and so on. These are the names of most widespread strategies. And first of all, it's know, want to know, and learn. And the next one is survey, question, read, recall, and review. Let's look closer and start from the first one. Know, want to know, learn. What is this strategy about? So first of all, our student looks at the title. And then he tries to note what he or she knows. For example, if we look at the previous task that I've already showed you, he can look at, he or she, I mean our student can look at the task, at the picture. Besides, we can also close the text and give them opportunity to make notes, to make some short like prompts or writing some short things in order to guess what can it be there and what he or she, I mean our student, has already know about the text he's going to read. Actually, I would like to draw your attention that in this way we can already see how what is the connection between reading and writing tasks. So next one, he or she knows what they know, and after that they know what they expect to learn further. So what can it be further? And the last one, and after that they read, of course, the text and briefly, and then note some new information about it. Something that they haven't guessed, something that was really new for them, something that maybe helped them to complete the task successfully. So this is actually the first strategy, and the second one a little bit longer. So survey, question, and 3 types of R. It's reading, recalling, and reviewing. The first one is survey. How does it look like? Our student is skimming through the title, main headings, different illustrations, and main points. Mostly, this strategy works with longer texts and with a little bit another kind of tasks. We'll look at it a little bit later today. After that, they goes to the stage that calls question. The survey is usually followed by such kind of questions. What does it mean? While reading, they have some questions, or before pre-reading tasks often have some questions. After that, our student reads this text actually accurately, recall it, it's the next stage, checking what the reader can remember. We recall it, and after that review the text. The reader reads and reviews the content of the text. So actually this is another strategy that is mostly most widespread among reading strategies. And now I would like to ask you one question. How do you think why or what factor influences on choosing the strategy? These strategies, actually, I don't know why I haven't mentioned it before. These strategies are not like, it doesn't mean that you should tell them what to do one by one, or you should tell them you need to use that strategy or this strategy. Actually, these are the terms for teachers, for them to know what their students are doing now. But these strategies we choose subconsciously. We just know how to read this text or that one while learning English. Students level, good answer. Thank you, Natalia. Age. Age level. Anna, what do you mean it depends on the situation? Could you a little bit clarify your answer? Because I suppose that you topic, level of students, Students' experience, vocabulary level, almost all of you are talking about the level of students. Mood, good choice, mood of our students. Yeah, actually, I can see now very good answer by Tatiana Yeremenko. Purpose of reading. Dear colleagues, I would like to tell you interest and time, good answer too, but what do you mean time? The long, do we have, if we have long time for reading or short one? Actually, we are talking about the task we need to complete. Let's look closer at some tasks, and we're limited of time. Yes, sometimes if we're limited of time, we should look through the text briefly. Yeah, but let's look closer at some tasks, reading tasks completely, and you will see which strategy to choose. I'd like to draw your attention to the slide and the picture of reading task. We have to listen first of all, to Rosa and Jose, and after that read. Yeah, two things are different from the recording, and what are they? They need to find two things that are different from the recording they have just heard. Yeah, they have just listened to, I mean. So how do you think? Which kind of strategy, the first one or the second one, not should our students choose, but they will choose, actually? Which kind, the first one or the second one here should be chosen? The first one, I see the first answer. Natalia thinks that it's the second one. Oh, I can see that we have almost 50-50. Wow. So, our points of view are divided almost 50-50, and I must admit that in this case, we're going to choose, unfortunately for those who chose the second one, we choose here the first one. But there are just two things. Yeah, actually, good comment. Yeah, I agree. There are just two things they need to find. Yeah, and the main point here is they have already listened to it. So they have already listened. They are familiar to the text. Yeah, familiar with the text, and they have opportunity to know what is it about, but in any case, they have to look through it briefly to find what differs here. I understand that some of you may insist on the second strategy of reading, due to the point that you know your students better. Abilities, yeah. Olga Stepanina, agree with you completely. Everything depends on students' abilities and the way of sensitivity. Yeah, agree. But mostly, now I'm telling you the predictable opportunity of developing this situation, and the student should listen to the text, understand it, maybe not everything, but understand it, what's going to be about. And after that, looking at this short text, it's short beside the length of the text, really plays very initial role here. And look through it briefly and find some things that are different. Yeah. That's why we can, and also they can predict what can be different there. Yeah. So Can be. Let's look, but for those who think that it's strategy number 2, I can also agree, but we should look at your students. What can they do? How can they work? And what level they have? And also it depends on you as a teacher. If you want to stop here, more to look at the maybe some structures or grammar or something, of course, it must be the second strategy. So it depends. If you give some extra tasks, or you would like to work with this task like deeper, yeah, of course, it should be the second strategy. Next one. Oh, look here. These tasks, this text and the tasks that are before the task can be less controversial comparing with the first one. So we have the text, yeah, here. My Brazil blog, the lady tells about her, actually she's Ukrainian, Evgenia from Ukraine, yeah. She tells about her traveling through some Brazilian country, yeah, Brazil, and there are some tasks. Oh, you see here the strategy is less controversial. I'd like to wait for some more answers here. Can you tell me which strategy to choose? The first one or the second one? Well, we have task, first task, read the Evgenia's blog and answer the questions, yeah? You remember question there was the second point of the second strategy, yeah? And read the blog again and complete. Yeah, you see now, yeah, I agree. Of course, it's the second one. Yeah, that's great. Now we see the task that coincides clearly with the second strategy. Great. Okay. I hope that we shouldn't stop here like in some details because everything is clear. Next task. Look here. I hope this one also is not going to be controversial. Look, we have here some advertisements, yes, short one, and we just have one task. Read them and find. 2 days, 4 months, it's the beginning of Prepare book, one of the first units, and we need to complete this reading task like this. Which strategy should we choose here? Yeah, mostly I can see that you choose, it's also clear, mostly. I see that you can choose the first one, yeah? We are looking through it briefly. We can find some days, some dates, places, and so on. So we can find just the words that we know, and in general, we understand what is it about. Okay, that's great. So really, the first one was a little bit controversial. And this one. Read the story. What kind of shopping has Maria got? It's only one task. There are another ones, but I haven't placed it. Here on this slide, I just gave you the one task. Read the story. What kind of shopping has Maria got? How do you think in this case, if we want to complete this task, just this one that you can hear, that you can see on your slide, what kind of shopping has Maria got? If we just want to complete, I would like to highlight my words one more time. If we want to complete this task, only this one. Yeah, that's it. You are right. First one. Yeah. If we are completing the task, only this one, we choose the first strategy. We choose it again. I'd like to tell you it one more time. I'd like to highlight this point. We choose it subconsciously, dear colleagues. Our kids also choose these strategies subconsciously. If they see the task that they need to choose, they need to find the kind of shopping that Maria has got. It means that they are looking briefly and find just the name of shopping, yeah? Or find some words and they are making the conclusion, yeah, why this shopping, what kind of shopping she has got, and why, and so on. It doesn't mean that other tasks will not bring them to the second strategy. If we have the task, for example, I don't know, what was the reaction of Maria for some father's words or something like this, they should look at this text like closer, yeah? So it depends. Through these tasks I've just showed you, I want to draw your attention to the point that two kinds of strategies are quite important for us. Why? For us and for developing English language competences, yeah, and our ability to use English in everyday life. When you use the first strategy, your brain works faster and tries to make some conclusions, tries to find briefly some words and grammar constructions that help this brain to solve the problem, to complete the task successfully, the short task. Some task that pays attention to the points of the text, yeah? If we have some task where we need to answer some questions, after that read again and complete some and fill in the gaps, and after that answer some, I don't know, some comprehension check, yeah, like we have full comprehension check, some list of tasks. We should use we use actually the second strategy, because without it we cannot complete this task. So these two kinds of strategies develop different skills and abilities among our students, and they help them to develop their mental skills and abilities in different ways, and different and having different background for developing another English skills, that is writing, listening, and speaking. So now we are looking at another part of our webinar. Oh, we have almost lack of time. Need to be faster. It's writing. Writing is not so difficult as speaking, partly because we have time to prepare for it, but also maybe some I don't know, tricky things, a tricky point for our students, because they first of all need to spend their time. They need to be very careful with the things they are writing, because of spelling, because of some grammar mistakes, errors, slips, and so on. So the nature of writing for our kids consists of the following points. First of all, it's practicing structures and vocabulary. They are practicing the points they have already studied during the unit or during in general English classes, yeah? The next point is personalization. Personalization is quite important for them because it's always more interesting to write or to complete some tasks that are connected with our real world and real life and everyday life, yeah? So, for example, when we have the task about that text, you remember, with the messy rooms, and after that, they read it, they look at it, they look at some constructions, they revise one more time some vocabulary they have already had in the unit, and after that they need to write down something, some text or something, essay maybe, or some lines, yeah, in order to personalize, to tell what they have in their rooms, what is the situation in their life, yeah. After that, creativity. Of course, they can write anything they wish according to the topic, and they can use some maybe interesting facts about themselves. So creativity is quite important thing. More thinking time. Yeah, before writing, we are thinking more and longer how to write it, what to write, how to connect different parts of text, sentences, and so on. We develop learning to learn skill, of course, one of the most important Cambridge skill in the framework of Cambridge Life Competencies. And also we learning different areas, diagnosis, yeah, in different areas we are developing. Wait a second. Yeah, if we talk about kinds of writing, we develop our writing skills from the practicing in writing, as usually we are practicing. We practice it at primary school or pre-primaries. It depends on, of course, on kids. So our kids, like primary kids, yeah, they are copying, maybe some painting, their transliteration, making some transliteration. After that, a little bit later, dictations, labeling, etc. It's about primary school, and today we're talking about the first stage of secondary school, 5th grade. So in the 5th grade, they are mostly practicing fluent writing. So what is fluent writing, and what are the criteria for fluent writing tasks in order to make these tasks effective and successful, of course, for our kids? First of all, such kind of tasks must be interesting. They should be according to the appropriate level of our students, yeah. They should be relevant, at least, what does it mean? At least some of the tasks should be similar to the kinds of things they have already seen in the book, yeah. Simplicity. The task should be simple and understandable for our kids, yeah. And the last one is personal appropriateness. What does it mean, personal appropriateness? Actually, this type of criteria was developed mostly for teachers, but I'd say that it works both in pair, yeah, for teacher and students. What does it mean? Personal appropriateness, it means that the task should be one that you as a teacher feel comfortable with. Yeah, you should feel comfortable with this task. You should understand the relevance of this task with the real life and so on, and the relevance of this task with their opportunities to develop their writing skills. So let's look closer at the tasks at these points, yeah. on the example of some writing tasks from the book Prepare Ukrainian Edition. And first of all, it's interest. Task should be interesting. Of course, we understand that writing now is one of the most, actually, I think, the most difficult skill to develop. Our kids don't want to write. I've even heard that in the United States of America, at schools, they are they are almost not writing. They are typing. I don't know if it's true or not, or in all of the schools or not. I cannot say it for sure, but I must say that in our schools nowadays, we still have practicing of writing skills. And for our modern kids, it's quite a big challenge. So in order to make them writing, to motivate them writing something, we need to find something that is interesting for them. And please look at the task. Our students, actually, it's also the combination of reading task and writing one. And the writing one. Our students should read the Igor's blog for the week, answer some question, yeah? And after that, write a blog about you, about the student. Here we have the factor of personalization. Here we have reading. Here we have interesting and up-to-date task. So we are not even writing an email. We are writing some blogs that are that is like from their everyday life, I must say. Yeah. And also here we use Igor's blog to help. So we can like lean on, our student can lean on Igor's blog in order to create his own piece of writing. Yeah. Next criteria is level. Level of language should be appropriate to the level of the class. Yeah. In this task, we can see that they should write their invitations that are on page 40 in book. They have, yeah, and now they should write the invitation to their own party. First of all, they are writing, they are thinking about their own parties, how they would like to organize, when, what day, why, and so on. And here they have some prompts. These prompts, first of all, help them to make less mistakes. Second point, they are practicing their grammar and vocabulary they have already studied. And also it totally coincides with their level. So the level of the units they have already passed totally coincides with this kind of writing task. And they mostly they completed quite successfully from my practice, actually. Next point. Next point is relevance. Relevance, it means that the task should coincide and the task should have a kind of example and some kind of like the piece of text they should lean on, yeah? And this is the example of the relevant task. They have the text about some girl, Kira, yeah, as far as I can see here. They are reading, again, a connection reading and writing. They are reading, completing some comprehension check, and after that they write. This is the beginning of the book. They write the sentences with capital letters and full stops. They are practicing. The task tells about actually what tells clearly what they need to do, and they have opportunity to look at the example a little bit above, yeah, and they have opportunity to check that some names, yeah, some, I don't know, names of country and so on are written from the capital letters, and they have opportunity to check where to put commas, full stops, and so on. So they have opportunity to compare, and that's why this task is quite relevant. Next one. Wait a second. Next one is simplicity. We are reading the sentences in the table, yeah? After that, write 3 sentences about you and 3 sentences about your partner. Use and, but, and, or in your sentences. The task is quite clear, and they can understand it just freely. It's written here step by step what they need to do. They have here examples. They have here some like points they should lean on, yeah, and so on. So actually, in this case, the task can be completed also very successfully. And the last one. Personal appropriateness. It's about here also the writing task about they have to imagine they have their youth club nearby school, yeah, and they should work in small groups and write a blog page about their youth club. Actually, this task can be both like appropriate for teacher and for students, because they are doing something that is that coincides with their everyday life and with the things, the up-to-date things they can hear and see in their environment. And also for teacher, it's not something surprising and unknown. Kids are just creating the name, I don't know, the description, the things they would like to see or hear in their youth club. And a teacher just understands that it's the piece of art, I would say, mantelpiece of their kids, the product of their creative thinking. But in any case, it coincides totally with the scale of values, of everyday values that are familiar both for us, like representatives of a little bit older generation, and for them, kids 10 years old, who are 10 years old, yeah? So actually such kind of tasks are both interesting for them and for us. So, dear colleagues, I hope that through such kind of examples, I had opportunity to show you the, first of all, the coincidence of the book Prepare Ukrainian Edition for our kids in the 5th grade. It coincides totally with our vision of English teaching process, and it totally coincides with their vision of life and their interests and their psychological development. I must say that Prepare Ukrainian Edition has the following components. For example, it's student's book, of course, that you are going to get for free for your school if you vote for this book, actually. Workbook also, and online teacher's book. Also, you can find some online audio and video, both teacher's book and different online components that you can see here on this slide can be downloadable, or you have already access for all of these points, yeah, on our internet site, publishedlinguist.ua. I'll show it a little bit later. So we have also yearly planning and tests and other worksheets, already prepared worksheets online. What are the advantages of Prepare Ukrainian Edition? First of all, it meets the new Ukrainian school program requirements. Next point, it's there is integrative formative assessment that is quite important now. Also, I'd like to say that more than 2,000 students study with Prepare Ukrainian Edition in pilot's grade this year, and actually the results are perfect. We can see it from our testimonials, yeah. 100% of teachers highly evaluated, according to quizzes we have, yeah, highly evaluated the content, video materials, and methodological support that we try to provide with my colleague, Tanya. Also, modern content, I've already showed you it, yeah, modern content that motivates for studying English. And also, I'd like to say that Prepare Ukrainian Edition is the common product of Cambridge University Press, Cambridge Assessment English, I mean totally British publishing house with their traditions, with their experience, huge experience in English language teaching process. And it's also the common product of the Lingvіст publishing house and Lingvіст company. So we tried to make this book totally coincidable with our Ukrainian program, NUS Ukrainian program, yeah. Also, if you find the website publishing.lingvist.ua, you have opportunity to be aware of all of these materials. They are already on the internet site, and you can find all of the materials I've told you about here. Here is actually the list of all of these materials. We have the course presentation there, different annual planning, videos, worksheets, different extra resources for teachers, term tests already we have there, everything you need for a very, very successful work. And one more thing, dear colleagues, I'd like to invite you to our new landing page. This page is devoted to Prepare Ukrainian Edition. On this page, you can find lots of different materials that help you to work with this book and help you to make your choice, to find maybe some new information about the methodological approach and so on. The page is a little bit long. It calls pages.cambridgeenglish.org/prepare-Ukraine. I've just placed here the QR code. You can make a screenshot or just write down this internet site. First of all, there is the button to know more about the course materials. You can find it there. Also, here, there are all the advantages of the Prepare Ukrainian Edition. All the advantages that you can find in this book. Also, we placed here the testimonials from the teachers who are now piloting this book, and actually these testimonials are real. Yeah, we haven't created it by ourselves. These testimonials are quite real. And also you can find all the materials here. And video presentation of the course there, yeah. And also you can find all the materials separated. You can download them, be aware of them, and work if you need.